To kind of set this up. Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Dawn Hopkins, and I am the founder and also the owner of Inspiritus Yoga. Looks like we keep having interference here, so I'm going to mute this one number. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so I'm really excited to share with you about our upcoming 200-hour yoga teacher training program. Many of you are already students of mine or have known me in some capacity. For those of you who have not, I just want to take a moment to share a little bit about myself. I am going to make that really quick just because I'm noticing the video keeps taking it off of me. So give me a second and then I'll unmute you guys when I ask you to talk. Okay, so give me a sec. All right. So, hello, are we here? Okay, great. So I was 200-hour teacher trained, received my very first training back in 2006 and started teaching reluctantly, actually. I wasn't even interested in teaching at the time I went through my teacher training program. But I ended up stepping in for my trainer who was going on maternity leave and no one else put up their hand to take over her classes. So I wound up teaching and I fell in love with it right away. Didn't have any plans to teach yoga, and the next thing you know, I'm in love with it. And when she came back from her maternity leave, I didn't want to give up the classes. And so I ended up continuing teaching, and about 2 years later, I started assisting with teacher training. So this is about 2008. I received master's training around that time, so I went through a 500-hour program, and then really saw a vision for a different style or a different type of teacher training program that would be really small, really intimate, where I would mentor people through the program and we would form a really close community. And so I launched my teacher training program in 2011. We've been training instructors ever since. At the same time, in 2011, Shirley Berthelette, who leads up our teacher training program in Canada, she also was co-training with me with this other organization and said, hey, I like what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. And so at the same time, she became another teaching center for the Inspiritus program, which was at the time called something different. It was called the Center for Living Well. And a year later, Trina Campbell came on board. She heads up our teacher training program in Detroit. So we have been training yoga instructors ever since. We love to keep the training program small and intimate because I believe that some magical things happen, and I have witnessed it over the years that we've been training. We are on our 13th training group just here in the Southwest region, and I have witnessed incredible transformation, growth, healing from the participants who've gone through the program. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also trained in many other areas. I'm a certified yoga therapist, Thai yoga massage practitioner. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do lots of other things, but primarily my heart is in training. So we have a 200-hour teacher training program. We also have a continuing education program and an advanced training program for to support our teachers who want to continue to learn beyond their 200 hours. So I would love to take a moment and just have you guys just introduce yourself, how maybe you came around to knowing about our program, maybe where you live, because we do have some people who are not local. And we'll just kind of go through real quick and do that. And then I'll share with you the details about the upcoming training program as well as the schedule. And then we'll open it up for questions and answers. I do have a teacher who graduated, Sandra, who graduated with our last teacher training group. And then Emily, who is currently enrolled with the current teacher training group. So they can share with you a little bit about their experience and answer questions you might have from that perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of call on names because I can see like a roster of people who are on the call with us at the moment. And so, Gail, if you want to quick introduce yourself and maybe, tell people who you are, where you're from, and how you came across the training program.
Well, I spent 6 months in Arizona and 6 months in Wisconsin. And actually, I had been doing yoga for a period of time. I got badly hurt in the fall, running in the desert, and I kind of wasn't doing yoga for a while. I couldn't because of various injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started coming back to it. I've always wanted to do the teacher training more to enrich myself. Like you, I wasn't necessarily thinking of the teaching aspect, but just enriching and learning more about it and getting deeper and diving deeper into the philosophies and the program. And a friend of mine brought me to where you're teaching at Cornerstone. I loved it. I loved you. I loved kind of what you kind of shared in the sessions, and it really drew me to wanting to be part of your program.
Awesome, Gail. I'm so glad that you're on the call with us. And, it's so funny that you and I just realized that we knew each other from Joyful before Cornerstone, and we just discovered that this week.
Yes. Because I used to go to Joyful all the time. And then when I got hurt, I couldn't really practice yoga for various reasons. And I missed it. I really missed being that. And I wanted to, because I was really kind of gaining ground and I missed that. And now as I'm kind of coming back into it, I just thought I wanted to deepen what I've learned, because I did fall in love with yoga. So
yeah, awesome.
I loved your program. I like it being small and more intimate, and that's kind of my style. So
yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're here, Gail. Thank you. So I see somebody who dialed in by phone with a 480 number, 776 7666, and I don't know who that is. So if you could.
Hi,
who's this? Yes.
Hi, this is Ayesha.
Hi, Ayesha.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I apologize, I'm a little late.
That's okay, no worries. So do you want to just share how you came across the training program with everybody and where you live and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I actually met Dawn at Maggie's place. She was doing a class. She was doing a class, and I met her, and it was like for health and eating, and she talked about, this group and everything. So I decided, that this is what would be best for where I'm at right now and future goals and everything.
Yeah. So have you taken Tracy Laddie's classes too, Ayesha?
Have I what?
Have you taken Tracy Laddie's classes over there at Maggie's place also?
Tracy, is she? Yes, I think so. Is she's the one that's doing the yoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah, it was really awesome. I liked it. She was really nice, and it was really relaxing and peaceful, and I don't know, it just felt great.
So Tracy Laddie graduated with the last training group with Sandra. So yeah. So she's one of the graduates of our teacher training program, and now she's teaching over at Maggie's place. And that's, another way that you can kind of check in with her about her experiences with the program too, if you want to, Ayesha. But I think you're going to learn a lot tonight. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So
John, I am, this is Carrie Perry, and I'm the 776 number.
Oh, okay. Hi, Carrie.
Hi. So I'm Carrie Perry. I'm from Fountain Hills. I'm actually calling in from Grand Canyon University, though, this evening, as I'm on a college visit with my son. So I will tell you really quickly, though, I first came about the program, and Dawn from a coworker at Virginia Piper Cancer Center, and I've been instructing fitness classes, for a long time, and heard about the program and really wanted to do it. I fell in love with yoga about a year ago as I was just normally teaching muscle conditioning classes, but I was on a business trip with my husband in LA and tried a class at a studio. It happened to be a yin class, and I absolutely loved it, and was really given a desire to bring it to other people. And I've been doing yin for about a year now, doing the classes, and I just really have been given a desire to bring it to like high school students and college students that were really stressed during their final exam time. So I actually did that this past season. And other than that, I just need to learn all the techniques and just have a proper training. So that's why I signed up for this 200-hour class session.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, so what Carrie's referring to is as part of our advanced training, we offer specialty trainings, and we just completed one on yoga for cancer recovery. So Carrie was a part of that. So super excited to have you here. And also what's really interesting is that one of our graduates, well, she'll be graduating next week. She is, her whole project is around helping students manage stress. So that's what her project is for her graduation. So it's really cool that you mentioned that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's neat.
All right. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to mute you, and we're going to keep moving on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Next person I see is Bobby. If you want to go ahead and quick introduce yourself, that'd be awesome. If you need me to unmute you, I can do that. Nod your head if that's the case.
Hi, I'm Bobby Chawla. I live in Chandler, Arizona. I've gone to Dawn's classes at Joyful, and then I followed her to Cornerstone. It's been on my heart to try to become a yoga instructor for a while now, and I feel like the timing's right, and my children are in a good place, and I'm ready to grow in my faith and in my yoga practice. So
yeah. I'm super excited to have you, Bobby. I've been kind of nudging you for, I think, two different teacher trainings. I'm like, hey, want to do training? So I'm so glad that you finally decided that now is the right time for you.
I'm excited. I really feel like it's fitting in perfectly.
Awesome. Yay. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Farrah, I see you next up. You want to share a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Farrah. Yes, named after the famous Farrah Fawcett. I am a flunky of the current group. I was in process to complete the training with everyone else and graduate on Sunday, but then life exploded, as it tends to do, and had to set this aside. I am excited to get back on track and restart with a new group. My yoga practice is primarily hot yoga. I've been practicing that pretty consistently for the last 5 years, not so consistently 5 years before that. And I'm also a Pilates aficionado, so I bring a little bit of that background to it. I'm here locally in Phoenix, though I do travel for work often. So I may be in person, I may be on Zoom. I don't even know sometimes where I'm going to be that morning. So we'll see, it'll be a surprise.
I'm so glad that you are starting back up again, Farrah. We've missed you so much from this last training group. And you are not alone. We have had, as you know, lots of different people who've gone through the program, and, you know, life circumstances occur, and it means that they have to just put it on pause and then come back to it later. Emily will be the next one to talk, because I think that's a great segue to introduce Emily.
That's great. Hi, Emily.
Yeah. Your fellow classmate.
Okay, got to figure out how to unmute it. Yeah, so I guess I should start by saying that I'm finishing this training now, but I started last spring, whenever that was, January, February. And like Farrah, had life circumstances, I had to leave and come back. And I'm so glad I did, because I'm excited to finish next week. We have our final camp, and I'm truly, honestly, very excited about the camp. A little bit bittersweet though, because the people in our group they've become wonderful friends. So, and have missed you, Farrah, and hopefully I'll be able to help out at your next, training and get to see you there. So I've been practicing yoga for probably since the early 2000s, sort of off and on, and have through the years kind of come and gone with Dawn. I think I was probably in her class that she talked about, the very first one that she ever taught, sort of by accident. And I left yoga I was still going a few times, but I left for a while because I had a career and it got in the way. And now I'm back at it and have been for a few years, and would see Dawn and hear about her training over the past maybe 3-4 years. And at one point last year, or 2 years ago, she said, "Have you ever thought about doing the training?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty much every time you bring it up, I have." And I think that was the nudge that said, okay, maybe this is the time. My kids are both, on their own. And it just has worked out really well, other than the fact that the junk that went on last year, but that's neither here nor there. So I did not come into this with any intent to teach at all. I honestly can't really say what it was. I think it was just, okay, I'll try this. It sounds interesting. It's been beyond interesting. It's helped me grow. I can't even begin to tell you how it's changed and affected my life for the best. So I'm kind of starting to get it in my head that I maybe do want to teach, but I got to take that slow and really kind of see where that goes. I have another job that I have to do so that I can make money. So this will maybe be an aside. But I'm happy to answer any questions either here, or if you want to talk one-on-one later. Dawn has my phone number, so I'm more than happy to share that with anybody that wants to talk.
It's really encouraging to know that my very first yoga student is still here with me today, right? Seriously, you were one of my first students ever. So
yeah, a little church in the foothills. Yeah.
I love it. All right. So Priscilla, you want to introduce yourself real quick and share a little bit about yourself? Oh, looks like you're muted. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Oh,
I got it.
Did you get it? Okay.
So hi, everyone. I'm Priscilla, and I am just going on this journey because it presented, and that's it. And it keeps presenting. So I decided that I would go ahead and bite the bullet. And Dawn and I had a nice conversation, and Bobby, we saw each other at yoga. And Emily, you were great to kind of encourage me as well. And Farrah, I think I met you at the last session that I decided not to go to. If you were in the last class, you might have been there when I went to the last orientation. And so, and Sandra, you look really familiar too. So I feel like it's really good company. And I've just been on this journey of healing and recovery, and yoga and meditation have been a big part of that. And I figure, well, maybe it's time for me to enrich more, learn more, and maybe eventually teach. But I'm not attached to any outcome. I'm just here, and I'm going to go with the flow.
Awesome. And that's the best way to do it. Just keep your heart open and wait and see where the promptings lead, right? Awesome. And by the way, Priscilla and I just discovered we have a lot of people in common. So that was really interesting to discover. So yeah, I'm excited to have you on board. All right, Sandra. Oh, do you want me to unmute you?
No, I'm on my iPad because I don't have a laptop, so the camera's funky, so I look like I'm looking over here. I look like I don't know what I'm doing. So, so I graduated, as Dawn was saying, I graduated in the last class, and Emily was in my class, so I'm really, really happy that she's going to be graduating with this one. That's exciting. I have been practicing off and on for 20-ish years since my son was very small, and I've probably somewhere between the last 5 and 10, I had toyed with the idea of teacher training, and then the last 5 years, it had come up a couple of times with different instructors, and it just never felt right. And then it came up, I was at Joyful, and I had seen the training flyers a couple of times, but I think I'd only taken Dawn's class once. So my experience with her was like I didn't really even know her. So I set up time to meet with her one-on-one because I had completely missed the orientation. And met with her for, I don't know, an hour. And I was like, yep, I'm in. Sign me up. I'm good. And it was life-changing for me. It reinvigorated my faith and put me on a path that the last year has just been remarkable. I'm so hungry for more. Like I just signed up for Zen yoga. I'm finishing up the mindful eating, and like I just can't wait. I'm ready for yoga camp in May, where I can learn yoga nidra and just everything. Like I'm ready. Like I'm in, and I'm teaching a little bit. I finally started teaching. I'm teaching kids yoga at Joyful on Sundays, which has been a lot of fun. But yeah, this is probably the best program I have ever seen for yoga teacher training. And like Emily, I'm more than happy to answer any questions or talk or, tell you my experience if you're interested.
And Sandra just went through one of our advanced trainings in kids yoga, and she's already teaching kids yoga. She just started over at Joyful with that. So it's really cool what can happen when you just open yourself up to possibility, right? And just let the journey take you where it will. So yeah, thank you, Sandra. And we'll have some time at the end, where you can ask questions, and these guys can answer them, or I will. So I just want to share with you kind of like the nuts and bolts of the program, a little bit about why we're different. Obviously you are obviously here because this is a different kind of a program. It's very intimate, very small. We do that intentionally. And we do offer international training and offer online training, which now more and more schools are starting to offer that. But what I love about our approach is that we do have these 2 yoga camps where it is in person. It's very, very personal. You will learn more than you ever thought you would potentially know about foundational yoga and how to teach it. And then in the in-between times when we are on our Zoom calls, or you can come live in person here in Chandler at in my home studio, there's this beautiful community that forms while we start to talk about yoga theory and learn some of the non-contact aspects of yoga that we can do online. So it gives us flexibility, and the fact that our program takes place over the course of 6 months makes it manageable for people who are working full-time jobs, things like that, to be able to still fit it in their lives, rather than having to completely immerse themselves and do it in a short period of time. I personally don't like doing it in a short period of time, because it takes time for you to integrate the concepts that you're going to learn, to be practicing them, and to feel really like you've mastered them and you feel ready to teach by the end, if that's what you want to do. So it's a slow journey, it's a slow build, and that's for very important reasons, in my opinion. That also gives us the ability to really interact with you guys on a very personal level, to help mentor you through your journey. And everybody's journey looks different. Even though you're on the same collective journey, it's a very personal and individual journey at the same time. So we do offer 2 training tracks. One is the inspirational training track. The other is the Christ-centered training track. So we do combine our learning, and I'm just going to say right now, we keep it where it's safe. It's safe to explore wherever you're at spiritually, to connect in whatever way that you connect. You'll be learning side by side. And I think some really beautiful things happen. People's hearts and minds open up to each other. This community forms that really looks like no other community I've ever seen in my entire life. And the level of support that you guys will provide for each other, and encouragement and community, and all that goes along with that, is just one of the most beautiful things about this program. And I don't do anything. You guys do that. So I'm just there to help facilitate it and make sure that we, you know, are honoring one another and help lead you along your journey. So we do place emphasis on 3 areas. One is obviously you're learning about yoga theory, the asana, the breath work, and everything that's a part of that. Spiritual study, so you diving into your own spiritual journey, and that will meet you exactly where you are. And then leadership development, helping you prepare to become a leader, a teacher. And even if you have the goal of becoming a business owner one day, or leading a yoga ministry, or that sort of thing, we help prepare you for that. So I have owned multiple businesses in my lifetime. I have had the pleasure of leading a yoga ministry. I've also been a part of a yoga ministry. I have I've owned a gym. I have been in the professional world. I've kind of done it all. Priscilla knows this. We just talked last week. It's been a crazy kind of curvy road to get where I'm at. However, the beautiful thing about that is I have a lot of experience to share with you. I've taught in pretty much every environment you can imagine. And so I can coach you on that. And I love to do that, and help support you if there's, you know, something outside of the box that you're considering. I'm just, you know, here to help support and guide you and get the tools that you need to succeed. So that's what this is all about. We do have a long track record as well. We've been doing this, like I said, since 2011. Successfully, you know, with the model that we use. We have made tweaks to the model over time, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And, you know, every time we go through a training, we learn a little more. We, you know, tweak it just a little bit to continue to make it better, to improve the quality as we go along. So we have a schedule that I'm going to go over with you right now. So I am going to share my desktop with you, so we're all on the same page, literally and figuratively, right? So starting with module 1, we will be beginning this teacher training with a yoga camp. In the past, we didn't do that. In the past, module 2 was yoga camp, and we started with what now has become module 2. But over time, I think I've realized that what happens in yoga camp is so sacred and so special that I want to kick it off that way. And I want you guys to form that community right off the bat, and just dive right into practicing the asana together. So our yoga camp in the Phoenix area will be April 1st through 5th. Detroit's will be April 29th through May 3rd. Saskatoon, in Canada, they're actually not going to be doing a module 1 camp. It's going to be a little different because they're doing what's called FYI training, or fitness yoga instructor training, and they're combining them. So if you are, I don't think we have any Canadians on with us right now, but I do know that one signed up for tonight, might be watching the recording. So if that applies to you, I will be putting you in touch with Shirley Berthelette, who can give you all the details and information about the format of their training, because it's a little different this time than it has been in the past. So during that yoga camp, we'll cover applied basic anatomy, pranayama, which is breath work, mudras, which are just hand postures, yoga terminology, and then we go over all of the gentle and level 1 asana. So the way that we do it is so much fun. We end up where I will teach you guys a few poses, then you buddy up with a partner and start teaching each other right away. It literally will catapult your learning, because the minute you start articulating it is the minute you start to begin to really integrate what I'm teaching you. So, and you start to give a voice to your practice, right? It's very different to know how to do a yoga posture versus to teach someone else how to do it. And so this helps to get you started right off the bat. We have teachers from previous trainings come in to assist you guys, and that's really fun. They love it, and it's really fun to have them, you know, back in the mix with everybody. And so that particular unit is all-inclusive. There's no additional homework outside of what will be contained within that module. Now, I do want to add that April 8th, so you're going to have to add this to your schedule, and I'll make sure you guys get this in writing. But April 8th is when we're going to have Heath Reed do our anatomy training. He is out of town for our yoga camp. So I'll be giving you guys some basic yoga anatomy, but then we're going to have a separate session on April 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. So make sure you make a note of that. And then we're going to do some weekly mentoring. You'll notice that our yoga camp is April 1st through 5th, but we don't start module 2 until May 6th. So there's like a month in between. So we'll have our anatomy training, and then we're going to do some weekly mentoring on Wednesday, April 15th and April 29th. And it will just be an hour long, like an hour, hour and a half of just group mentoring. You can do it in person or via Zoom, but I just want to make sure you guys write those dates down, okay? Because that's a little bit of a change. I want us to stay connected during that time, not get disconnected right after yoga camp and then wait to start back up again in May. The reason why we had to change ours is because we had some date conflicts with the April 29th through May 3rd dates. And we had some space conflicts. So that's why we had to push ours back. And I was trying to avoid Easter and Mother's Day and then a yoga retreat that I have in the middle of April. So that's why we ended up earlier. Okay, so then module 2 will be Wednesdays. It's 5 to 7 p.m. for the training time, but then 7 to 8 p.m. will be our mentoring time. So it really is 5 to 8 p.m. In Arizona. That will be May 6th through June 3rd on Wednesdays. And during that time, you can attend live in person here at my home studio, or you can attend via Zoom through the web like we are right now. In the event that you can't attend live, we will be recording it. Of course, we prefer for you to be attending in person in real time whenever possible, okay? We'll cover yoga history, theory, and philosophy. We'll be looking at how to study and assimilate sacred texts, looking at the Yoga Sutras, also looking at the example through the Bible and teaching you a method that you can use and apply in whatever sacred text you might be studying, okay? I'm teaching the Bible because we have Christ-centered teachers and because it's what I'm most familiar with in terms of teaching you how to assimilate sacred texts, but the model I teach you, you can apply to whatever sacred text you choose. And then during that time, you'll be doing sacred text study where you'll be turning in journaling notes every week. You'll be observing yoga classes and turning in feedback forms for the classes that you attend. And then the weekly mentoring will be rolled into that from 7 to 8 p.m. every week, okay? Module 3 will be continuing on Wednesdays, 5 to 8 p.m. It'll be June 17th through July 8th. During this module, we start to look at class design. So building a class, what goes into putting together a class plan. So messaging, sequencing of the asana for gentle level 1, level 1, 2, and flow. And then looking at playlist development. So how do you incorporate music and then pull everything together into an experience for your students? During that time, you'll do some journaling, so 3 journaling notes based on your spiritual study. And then you'll observe 3 yoga classes and turn feedback forms in for those. And then you'll be participating in weekly mentoring. You'll also prepare your own class outline. So this is where you start to put a class together. It'll include everything. You'll have class messaging and the asana. Whether or not you choose to incorporate music, that's up to you. But it will be something you put together and then actually teach your mentor. Shirley will be helping to mentor some of our trainees, so you might be working with her or me to do your first practice teach. Then we give you feedback on that, and then at the end, when during our second yoga camp, you'll actually teach your classmates the class that you put together based on the feedback that we give you. Okay, it's so much fun, and it sounds really scary right now, but I'm going to tell you, everyone survives it, and everybody feels that much more prepared for when they go to teach their group. because it's really like a learning lab environment. It's not a test. It's not anything other than us trying to support you and help prepare you to teach. Then module 4, again, is Wednesday nights from 5 to 8 p.m. That will run from August 5th through August 26th. During this module, we cover business tools and marketing, some of the legal aspects of yoga, teacher ethics, roles, and responsibilities. We look at servant leadership models for our teaching, and obviously, if you have future plans beyond just teaching, it will help prepare you for leadership. And then we talk about self-care, because it's very, very important when we are putting out so much to the world and our students, that we understand the importance of taking care of ourselves too. During that module, we will do 2 journaling notes based on our sacred text study, and then observing 2 yoga classes with 2 feedback forms turned in. And then you will complete a final project that will consist of either a business plan, or you can put together a workshop or class series for a special population or a specific condition that you feel led to. And you don't need to worry about that now. You may already know, have some ideas of a population you feel drawn to, but you have plenty of time to figure that out. And sometimes the course of training will take you in a direction you never expected. So I just advise you to just wait, see what happens, be open, and let the process lead you. One of the things we should get t-shirts that say trust the journey, like trust the process, because we talk about it all the time. And really it's just about surrendering to the journey and what that's going to mean for you. Then the final module will be our teacher practicum yoga camp. Ours will be October 7th through 11th. I think they're all the same for the 3 training centers. And during that module, we'll do more applied anatomy, level 1-2 asana, so intermediate toward advanced asana, and then vinyasa flow. We also will go through touch and assist, so how to assist your students verbally and how to do it using touch. Also in that training module, you will present your practice teach to the group. You'll teach your classmates, and then you'll graduate. So that's what these guys, including Emily, are doing next week. So starting Wednesday through Sunday of next week, they'll be doing that yoga camp and graduating on March 8th. So so a change from our last one is that we are going to require that everybody participates in yoga classes weekly through the duration of training. So even though you may not be turning feedback forms in every single week, because some of these modules you only have 2 feedback forms, 3 feedback forms, 4, it just depends on the module. We want you practicing every single week. So you can do it in person, you can do it via the web. We will have classes available by recording that you can use if you're not local, or if you're just having a hard time finding classes that work for you. But you'll keep a log of your classes for submission at the end of training. So we want you on your mat every week. Honestly, that's where all of this comes together. It's where you will really get an opportunity to understand the nuts and bolts of the practice as we train you. And it will keep you mentally, physically, emotionally healthy and well throughout the journey. Okay, so we want you on your mat, whatever that looks like, even if it's a restorative class or yoga nidra, I don't care what it is, but we want you on your mat. Okay, so for the reading, The Heart of Yoga is going to be one of our primary texts, and that you can, start reading now if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I think it'll make more sense if you're reading it while we're learning about the things that that are discussed in the book. But I do have a lot of overachievers who want to dive right in, who love to read, and that's fine. The Yamas and Niyamas, this is one of my favorite books ever. It will give you lots and lots of ideas later for journaling, for teaching classes, coming up with class messages. The Anatomy of Yoga will be another book that we use, but we will only use that book during our yoga camps. And then if you're a Christ-centered trainee, it would be the Holy Bible. If you're not and you want to, if you're an inspirational trainee, then you can use whatever sacred text you want, but the sutras will have to be a part of that. Okay, so we want to make sure that you have an understanding of the Yoga Sutras because they are considered to be like the primary text of yoga. Okay, but there's lots of material in it. Even if you're just looking at the yamas and niyamas, you will have plenty of material for study, even if you choose not to study anything else beyond the sutras and the yamas and niyamas. There are going to be lots of other resources that we provide. This is just a list of some of them, but throughout training, we'll be throwing out lots of names of different books that we love that have supported our learning and our growth. So these are just some additional resources if you love to read and things that we find are great and complementary to your learning. If you're going to be studying the sutras, I would highly recommend getting your hands on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali by Sri Swami Sadechananda. This book is an incredible resource. You'll be very happy that you have it to help you understand the sutras because they can be like, woo, up here. And this book makes it really understandable and helps kind of explain what they mean in modern terms, if that makes sense. Okay, because the book that we're reading is thousands of years old, right? So this will help us kind of modernize it and bring it into our current experience of what our understanding of sutras are now. So, but yeah, lots of different resources. The next steps for this process, so as you know, we'll be starting April 1st. The next steps would be to submit your application, and there's a $200 application fee that goes along with that. That just holds your spot. We do have extremely limited space, as you guys know. And if for some reason you chose not to do training now, we would apply it to a future training, or I would apply it to any other programs that I offer, including my private services. So that money will not be wasted, okay? Then to meet with me one-on-one. Some of you have already done that. If you haven't done that, we would schedule a time to have a conversation, get to know each other a little bit, for me to answer any questions. I don't know why we call it an interview. It's really not an interview. It's just us having a time to connect on a personal level, get to know each other a little bit, and answer any questions that you might have about your own specific circumstances. Then at that point, we would be issuing a statement of commitment and a waiver and release that you would sign before you begin. Payment is due within 2 weeks of the module's start date, so 2 weeks prior to April 1st. So I need to have everything in by like March 15th, basically. If you need additional time, just talk to me. And if you are interested in setting up for like payment arrangements, we can discuss that when we have our conversation one-on-one, okay? And then every week, I will send you an installment of your training materials. Now, I'm going to tell you, this makes some people uncomfortable because they want everything right away. I do this on purpose. I want you guys to be present throughout the journey. I don't want you jumping ahead of the group, of yourself. I want you to really sit with the material for each week, allow it to integrate, and spend time with it before we move on to the concepts that will be introduced the following week, okay? So this is very intentional. I will not provide them early. I'm sorry, but I will get them to you by Monday of every week. We meet on Wednesday, okay? So you'll have 2 days to look them over. If you like to look them over in advance, you're welcome to do that. But every Monday you'll have your materials for that week, okay? Trust the journey. Again, just trust the process. There's a reason why we do it this way, and I find that otherwise it starts to become like a fire hose of information. It becomes very overwhelming because we do cover a lot of stuff as we go through this journey. So we do this in small doses. We do this, a little bit at a time, integrating those concepts, learning them, talking about them, and then we move on each week, okay? Or move forward, not move on. So any questions on anything that I've gone over so far? Because this is kind of like the nuts and bolts. And I'm sure if you have questions, there other people may have the exact same question that you have.
I have two.
Sure.
So going back to module 1.
Okay.
And the mentoring dates you have in April, I have April 15th and April 29th for additional mentoring, and there's no April 22nd?
No, I'm out of town April 22nd. I'm teaching.
Okay. And then is the time for this going to be 5 p.m. or the normal mentoring time of 7?
It'll be 5 to 6 p.m.
5 to 6, okay. And then my second question is the yoga classes for the duration of training. And it says you can take any style, but can you take any instructor?
For the ones that are not for your journals or your feedback forms, yes.
Okay.
For your feedback forms, I'll give you a list of instructors that you can take classes with. And then we'll also include some online stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the feedback forms, it has to be with the teachers that I designate, but the other classes can be anything, anywhere, with anyone. Great questions. Thank you, Farrah.
Thanks.
Anyone else? No questions at all, really?
Is Bob going to cook his dinner again? Do I get to do that again?
Yes. So
excellent.
For every yoga camp, my husband does a team dinner for us. So you'll get 2 of those at my house, and my husband cooks for us. He loves to do it. He loves to be a part of supporting our teacher trainings, and he loves to get to know everybody. So yes, we will be having dinner, 2 of them. Yay.
Yay.
And we do take into consideration any dietary considerations. So you just let me, we'll work that out in advance. But if you're gluten-free, dairy-free, whatever, we will honor whatever your needs are.
I have a question.
Sure.
And it might be helpful to the people who have gone through the class. I feel that probably so much is gained by being together and being in touch, kind of that in a personal way as a group. And because I'm really only going to be here probably through the June 3rd date and won't be back until the fall, because I would hopefully try to come back for the October yoga camp, I feel like I'm going to be missing so very much of that togetherness and that, as a group kind of going on this journey. Can anybody relate to that, or does anybody have any feedback on that, as far as missing out on a lot of what you gain from being in that class together?
Yeah. So you'll be on Zoom, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And you'll be here for the 2 yoga camps?
Well, my intention right now is that I would come back for the one in October. Yes.
Yeah. So I think you're going to be just fine. We actually co-train with the people in Canada. And what's really cool is that they're just with us by Zoom. We never have any personal contact with them because they do their yoga camps locally in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we have had our Detroit folks with us, you guys will get to know each other. You will support each other. You will be connected. And then we get sad when we can't be together for yoga camps because they're out there, we're here. You will still find those connections take place.
Okay.
And there's nothing like the yoga camp. I don't know how to describe it to you, but there is something magical that happens when we are all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stop there, and I see Sandra nodding her head. I'll let her just kind of chime in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you said that, I think because with the yoga camp being at the very beginning too, you're going to bond with everybody that's in your training group so quickly with yoga camp, because it just, like Dawn said, there's something almost magical about it.
Okay.
It's really hard and it's totally exhausting, but it's amazing. It's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. And so after that, being on Zoom, you'll have already bonded. So I think you'll be completely fine.
Okay.
I think it'd be
Well,
completely
thank
fine
you.
to do it all.
Yeah, that was my concern, because as I was watching you scroll through all the different dates, I thought, boy, I'm going to be missing a lot of that togetherness that as a group, because I know I've gone through different trainings before, and I know how much that adds that kind of personal connection, and that learning process, and having, you know, the relationships which help, you know, kind of that you feed each other, and it helps in that training and that learning and that journey. And I just don't want to be missing a lot of that. You know, and then I guess I had another question about the yoga camp. So that's a joyful yoga? Is that a joyful?
Some of it will be at Joyful Yoga. Some of it will be at a place called Compassion Sync, which is off of Guadalupe and the 101.
Okay. And so is this a camp, or do you go home at night from the camp? I guess, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You go home
Okay.
at night.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't certain.
Yeah, and I'm happy to send you guys, and I'll attach it, because I'll do a follow-up email to this, and I'll include the link to tonight's recording. But I can include a sample like yoga camp schedule, so you can get an idea of like what, you know, what's entailed, like how many hours, and when we start, when we end, you know, where we'll be, that sort of thing. So you'll get an idea.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
At Cornerstone, actually, I forgot about that. In April, 2 of the days will be down at Cornerstone also.
Okay. Will you be forwarding this schedule that you have on your desktop? Will you be forwarding that schedule?
I can do that, absolutely. I think it was attached with the email that I sent.
Okay. I might have just missed that. Okay, because I was having trouble with email.
When I sent out the login information for tonight.
Okay.
It was attached to that.
Okay. Okay.
Gail?
Yes.
Just to speak to your concern about not being engaged because you won't be there in person, I just want to let you know that I left the last training before that first camp, and even having done that, I'm still connected with the people in that class. I mean, I was there in person, but Sandra's my friend. I see her around. Tracy, who Dawn talked about, I see her around. Also, we have a gal in our group. She's from North Carolina, and she's only been, like, I've only been in person with her at the one camp so far, but she right away became engaged in the class, and it was almost as if she had actually been there with us. So hopefully that helps with your concern.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It does mean a lot, and I wouldn't want to miss that part of it, because I can feel it already. I can feel how special this group is and how special this training will be, because I think the places that you go emotionally and spiritually are probably things that help you bond together on that journey. And I think that's so important because of this kind of journey that you're going on. I think that's an important part of the teaching and the learning and everything, and I wouldn't want to miss that. I just think it just seems to add so much to what we're doing. Thank you for sharing.
I just wanted to, this is Carrie Perry, sorry. I agree with, I'm going to be in a similar boat. I can attend both camps, and maybe once a month in person, but other than that, it will be through the video. Okay. But I do believe, just on things that I've heard before, I do believe you can make a connection, you know, whether you're listening to a message online or I've done a couple of practices online where I do feel connected. So I think with technology we have now and everything, I do think it is possible.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing. It makes me feel more comfortable and more at peace that I won't miss so much of what's happening.
Yeah, I think you're going to be just fine. And, you know, like Emily said, Sean, she was doing the Christ-centered add-on. She was an existing 200-hour yoga teacher. And she decided to add on the Christ-centered piece. And so she only really needed to do the Zoom modules, and she decided to come to the yoga camps because she loves this group so much. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. And I can see how that can happen. I can see how, because you're bonding over, you know, because you are diving deep into kind of that emotional side, that spiritual side. And even I'm certain, you know, anytime you do kind of as a group do some of these things together, you know, if you find that connection. And I just didn't want to miss out on that. But it sounds like everybody's kind of said that you really won't, especially if you do the yoga camp, which is, you know, where you get to know people. So.
Yeah, and those are required. I mean, you do have to be in person for those. So, yeah, but, you know, if you do have, for anybody out there, and Priscilla and I already talked about her unique situation, if you do have some challenges, just talk to me and let's see what we could figure out together, okay? But ideally, you know, we'll be together as much as possible. And what happens is like a little family forms, and it's really, really special.
Well, and that's, like you said, that's what makes it special.
Yeah. All of you guys are the ones who make it special. So.
But as are you, though. I mean, because you're what drew me into kind of bringing it to fruition. It was you and what you shared is what drew me into finally taking this step. And sometimes it had to do with, because some of the other trainings, you have to be there full time. You have to be there at every class. This was the opportunity to, if you are long distance, to still be able to participate. And but you drew me into that. So I think that's making it special too.
That makes me teary. I love this so much, and you guys will see that this is my passion. This is my heart. So,
and you can see that. You can feel it in your classes, you know, what this is to you, and it draws people in.
Thank you, Gail.
You are welcome, but thank you.
Okay.
Now you're making me tear up. And I don't know what I did in my video. I had video when I started, and I did something and I lost video. So I'm sorry. Because I was so sorry I had it.
Yeah, no worries. We'll figure that out as we move on with training. It'll be all good. Okay. Anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all? I want to honor your guys' time. I wanted to try to keep this to an hour, but I want to also make sure that you guys, you know, have all your questions answered. And certainly, if there's stuff that you need to just talk to me about offline, when, you know, we get together and have a one-on-one conversation, we can do that as well. But I'll be giving you guys Sandra's and Emily's phone numbers. So, you know, if you want an inside view, you're more than welcome to reach out to them too.
So, Dawn, really quick, I do have one question.
Sure.
The application that we have to submit, is that something you'll send to us?
Yes, I will include it as an attachment. It's actually a link, but it's an online form that you can complete. If you have any issues with it, you can just print it off, handwrite, whatever. And by the way, that's kind of how I am with homework too. Some people really like the online form. Some people hate them. Some people just want a template and they type it in. Some people handwrite. As long as I can read it, we're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So, yep, I'll be adding the application. I'm just making myself notes of all the things to include when I follow up with you guys. All right, anything else?
No, just thank you for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, if anything comes up, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You have my information. I'll be following up with you guys after I upload the recording. I'll have a link. I'll include a sample yoga camp schedule, Sandra and Emily's phone numbers, the application link, and then if there's anything else, you know, feel free to just reach out to me personally.
Well, thank you so much for putting this all together.
Thanks, Gail. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Look forward to seeing everyone.
Yeah.
At yoga camp.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.